Hey everyone, I'm back yet again to talk about Souls. This time I want to tell you the order in which I think you should play them. Being quite new to the whole Soulsborne / Souls-like world, I happen to think my opinion is pretty fresh, as I only started playing Dark Souls Remastered 2 years ago, and since then my journey has been challenging yet exciting. I'd say I've dipped my toes into most of what this genre has to offer, because it's like crack cocaine and I just can't get enough of it. And at the moment I always have a Soulsborne on at any given time. There is no definitive order to play them in. I suppose you could say the 3 Dark Souls games make sense to play in order, but there is no clear story. And I'd like to tell you the order I think you should play them in terms of difficulty. First off, what defines these games as Souls-likes or Soulsbornes? Well, firstly you've got the rage-inducing difficulty, which is ever present and will test you to your limits. You know you can never really relax or drop your guard because you're going to get killed the moment you let up. Next, you need to know you'll be facing an endless bombardment of bosses, who are even harder than the open world and will test every limit of your skill. You have the ultra important stamina management, the core of the difficult gameplay, watching that little green bar like a hawk, and finally the fact you'll drop experience and lose it if you get killed before you get back to that point. Wrapping it all up really is the tight gameplay and pretty unmatched, excellently tight controls. Overall, these simply are the best action adventure games you're going to play, and it's worth you getting into them now before too many more come out. But what order should you play them in and why? I just want to say I'm not going to include Dark Souls 2 on my list here. I have tried to play it a couple of times and I simply can't get into it. I've been recommended it as a game to play after I've played all of the other Souls-likes by people who are very much more into the genre than I am. But you could pop Dark Souls 2 in here at any given time, probably after Dark Souls 1. Anyway, well, I am of the opinion that you should start with Dark Souls 1. It teaches you all of the mechanics you're going to need to continue and just how this whole crazy subgenre works. It's an arguable point that despite everything that comes after it, this is the best Souls game. It certainly is the one I think about the most, and although Demon's Souls came out before it, this is the game that really ushered in the new age of crushingly difficult games. You'll learn how hard it is right off the bat, and it certainly pulls no punches, and won't hold your hand at all when it comes to throwing tough enemies and big bosses at you. In fact, from the very beginning, you're challenged right off the bat. As soon as you escape the initial cell, you learn quickly how to fight, and straight afterwards you're facing tough enemies, and not long after that there's a difficult boss. It's kind of like learning to swim by being thrown into the deep end, and with no armbands, you need to swim or die. I recommend this game to everyone, and if you haven't played at least this one, you're missing out. This isn't by far the easiest game on the list, but it's certainly the one you should start with. From now on I'll go in terms of difficulty. Hellpoint is my next suggestion. It's an easy Dark Souls in space, which isn't terrible. To be honest, it's probably best you look back at my review, as I covered this game last year. It is essentially indie Dark Souls in space. It's by far the easiest Souls game I've played. It's not amazing and it's not quite refined, but I'm looking forward to seeing them patch it and playing an updated version of this. Weird opinion here, but I'm going to go with the Surge 2 next. And this is actually the last Souls game I completed, or Souls-like, or whatever you want to call them. Anyway, I personally think it's one of the easiest Souls-likes I've played, while still being absolutely brilliant. To be honest, it's so much better than the first installment, you can kind of skip that. It's much harder, the first one, and it's not really as good as any of the other games on this list. I mean, if you look back at some of my streams from last year, you'll see how frustrated I got. Surge 1 is imbalanced, and it has many situations which will make you feel like you'll never overcome them without a bit of luck. Whereas the rest of the games on this list, you know you're making mistakes, and I suppose that's what makes them so unique. Every time you die you feel like it's your fault, you feel like you've pressed the wrong button because the controls are just that good. You hardly ever blame it on the game, or a glitch. Anyway, I go with Souls 2. It's also one of the shortest I've played. It's about 30 hours long, plus the DLC, and the DLC is honestly just a bit of fun for a couple of hours, and not soul-crushingly difficult like some other Souls DLCs, like Ring City. I just love how they changed the formula up with the directional parrying in this game, and I also love the fact you have to collect people's limbs to upgrade your own armour. There's a lot of great ideas in this game, and I'm certainly excited for Surge 3, and I'd happily play through Surge 2 again. Definitely add it to your list in terms of a good action adventure, which is pretty difficult. Next, I'm going to suggest Dark Souls 3. I think it's a very hard game, but the rest are coming up are probably harder still. There are certain skills or mechanics that you learn in Bloodborne which could help you in this, but it is slightly easier. So you can choose to go Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne first. I did Bloodborne first. Dark Souls 3 takes everything it's created so far and puts it together in a bloody satisfying and pretty much perfectly balanced action RPG. It's the easiest one to summon friends into also, at least I found, and I definitely recommend trying out some co-op fun for this, especially if you get stuck on tougher bosses. I weirdly have more memories of playing this co-op than solo. They're both equally as fun, but solo is far more challenging. And I would say Dark Souls 3 really shows how far the genre has come. If you play Dark Souls 1 and 3, you will feel like it's a big leap. The combat is obviously quite similar and the setting is, but there are certain things that are done in Dark Souls 3 with the story, the loose story that's there, and the bosses, and just keeps you coming back for more and more. I've got about 3 playthroughs of this game on my save file, and I'm still not bored of it. Then I'd say Bloodborne, as I've already kind of led to. Again, you can call on friends, but I had an amazing experience playing most of this game on my own. It changes the combat up quite a bit from Dark Souls, as it's mostly about parrying and dodging, and not heavy blocking and having one sword and shield, or being a mage. And also you have a weapon that you can transform, so there's a little axe spear kind of thing that turns into a big scythe, and you can combo up your moves to make big punishing attacks. It does feel somewhere kind of closer to something like Devil May Cry in the way that it uses its combat, but it's so unique. It feels really fresh, and it feels almost like a realistic anime. Some of the boss fights are so stylish. Not only is all of that true, but the design of the enemies and the world is so intense and gothic and dark that it just keeps you coming back for more. I often stopped to just look at things that are around me. I admired how the bosses were moving towards me. It's not very often I feel that way. Bloodborne is amazing, as you've heard, if you like these types of games. It is difficult, it's really, really hard, and I had to summon Luke in to help me with some of the endgame bosses. But I would happily, again, play this again. I'm thinking about doing a co-op playthrough of the entire game very soon. It's just so different, and it took me three or four goes to actually get into this game, but when I finally did, I never regretted it. And it's actually one of the games that got me through the first lockdown. Anyway, last up, I'm going to suggest the Nioh games. These are quite simply going to destroy what faith you have left in gaming. But you know, it's really about cool samurais, so that's all you need to know. Nah, I'm only joking. These are a good one to finish off on, because they're quite different in terms of difficulty and setting, and even the way they're played. The combat is somewhere between Bloodborne and Dark Souls in terms of speed, but it has its own feel as you can switch between different stances. You can also time button presses to replenish stamina on the fly, resulting in constant attacking if you master it. The bosses in this one will challenge you from very early on in the game, but the setting is really quite awesome as it mixes traditional Japan with monsters and demons. And with the remastered collection out now, it's the perfect time to try these games. There are plenty of other Souls-likes out there, I just haven't got around to them yet, such as Code Vein and Sekiro. Don't forget to check out Luke's streams on a Sunday. They're definitely next on my list after I master Nioh, and I'm sure that I'll be playing Souls-likes for the rest of my life. I am so excited to see what they do with Elden Ring. I'm sure everybody's got a different order of play for these games, so if you think my order is completely wrong, or you have your own suggestions, please let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for listening to me rant about Souls. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon.